It began with 9 words that struck the courtroom like lightning. "I'm here to shatter the silence. Diddy is a machine." The atmosphere inside Manhattan's federal courthouse on day 16 of Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial was electric. Reporters sat forward, pens poised, and every eye turned as George Clooney, global icon, philanthropist, and advocate for human rights, took the stand. This wasn't a cameo or scripted appearance. This was a reckoning decades in the making. What followed would ignite shockwaves across Hollywood, Washington, and beyond. George Clooney's presence alone was startling. A man revered as one of the last moral giants in an industry drowning in scandal now stood as the star witness in a case so dark, it barely seemed real. With calm conviction and emotional depth, he began to pull back the curtain on a world few dared imagine. His testimony wasn't just about Diddy. It was about a machine, a syndicate of secrecy, coercion, and corruption that had operated with impunity under the gleam of wealth and fame. In 2013, Clooney recalled he met Diddy at a glamorous white party in the Hamptons. The champagne flowed, stars mingled, but behind the laughter, a sinister conversation took place. Diddy leaned close and whispered something that stuck with Clooney for years. "Rap won't change the world, but the United Nations might." That moment revealed Diddy's true ambition. He didn't want music. He wanted global influence. And he saw Clooney, a man with political connections and humanitarian credibility, as the perfect gateway. But Clooney saw through it. Diddy was not seeking to make a difference. He was looking to elevate his brand into spheres of power he couldn't access through music alone. Clooney decided then to investigate, not by backing away, but by stepping deeper in. He played the role of ally, attended events, accepted invitations, all while documenting the truth behind Diddy's empire. Over time, Diddy introduced Clooney to his inner circle. Lavish parties turned into exclusive gatherings, and then into what Clooney described as rituals. He shared one night in particular that changed everything. He received an unmarked envelope containing GPS coordinates and a time 2 a.m. The instructions were clear: wear black, bring no phone. Suspicion and fear warred with his curiosity. He followed the instructions, concealing a camera in his watch for protection. The address led him to a back entrance of a major amusement park. Families visited this place daily, but behind one concrete wall lay a cold steel door, guarded by men with blank expressions. No one asked for identification. They already knew who he was. Clooney was led down a narrow corridor to an underground chamber. It was dimly lit. Music pulsed eerily, and the space reeked of secrecy. This was no party. It was a ritual, a ceremony where masks were worn, robes donned, and names signed into a ledger placed atop a stone pedestal. Clooney never signed, but he memorized the names and captured footage. Inside that chamber were billionaires, A-list actors, tech moguls, and even elected officials. They laughed, drank, and whispered, their identities hidden behind ceremonial masks. And at the center, Diddy stood like a conductor, orchestrating it all. He wasn't just a participant. He was the architect. He spoke of nuggets, the term Diddy and others used for people brought into these gatherings. Often vulnerable, disabled, or easily manipulated, they were used as props, entertainment, or worse. Clooney described one video shown in court, filmed through his concealed watch, of a blindfolded individual on a red cushion, surrounded by masked figures, with Diddy giving instructions in a cold, commanding tone. It wasn't fantasy. It was footage. The courtroom gasped. Clooney explained that these gatherings weren't about pleasure. They were about power. Attendees became part of a shared secret. They couldn't speak out without implicating themselves. Video evidence of illegal behavior gave him leverage. He kept people in line through quiet blackmail, offering access in exchange for obedience. But even Clooney wasn't immune. In 2014, after attending another of Diddy's events, he was ambushed. He woke up in a hospital, bruised, his body aching. A passerby had found him unconscious on the roadside. Days later, he received a USB drive in the mail. On it was footage of him during the attack, stripped, humiliated, taunted. The video ended with a shot of his wife, Amal, bruised and terrified. A note: "Go to the police and your family pays the price." Faced with this nightmare, Clooney complied temporarily. Diddy demanded help brokering a business deal involving international contacts. Clooney, desperate to protect his wife, agreed. But he later discovered the deal was a cover for illegal arms trafficking. Even then, he documented everything: wire transfers, calls, names, and emails. He kept them safe, hidden, encrypted, waiting for the moment when he could speak out. That moment had come. In court, Clooney submitted videos, emails, and a list of names he was forced to connect Diddy with: CEOs, political leaders, media executives. One by one, the pieces began to fall into place. Prosecutors had new leads. The public had new questions. When asked why he waited so long to speak out, Clooney answered with quiet heartbreak. Because I was afraid. Not just for myself, but for my family. Diddy doesn't act alone. He has protection. He has power. And people have disappeared for less. He told the court of a night when Diddy cornered him, saying, "You're my asset now, George. Never forget that." The audio was played aloud. Diddy sat frozen at the defendant's table. Then suddenly he erupted. "He's lying. I never touched him or his wife." The judge called for order. Clooney remained calm. "Sean, you know the truth, and the videos don't lie." As his testimony concluded, the courtroom was silent. No one moved. The implications of Clooney's words and evidence were massive. Names in the ledger matched those of beloved public figures. The videos showed faces that had once graced magazine covers and campaign ads. And now they were tied to something unimaginable. Clooney spoke not with vengeance, but with a deep sense of duty. "This isn't about revenge," he told the jury. "It's about those who couldn't speak, about the people used and discarded, about justice." His final warning struck a chord. Power built on silence is dangerous, but truth, even when whispered, can shatter it. The aftermath of his testimony was swift. Journalists flooded newsrooms with fresh investigations. Government officials prepared subpoenas. Clooney returned home, knowing his life would never be the same. But he had done what so few dared. He had spoken. This wasn't just a trial about one celebrity. It was about a machine, fueled by silence, protected by fear, and operated by those who believed they were untouchable. Clooney's voice had pierced that illusion. The ripples had begun, and the world would never look at fame the same way again. Back at his Lake Como estate, Clooney sat with Amal, their children asleep upstairs, the weight of the courtroom still heavy in his chest. He knew the story wasn't over. There were still names to be exposed, trails to be followed, and deals to be unmasked. But he had lit the first match. The world had seen the smoke. Now it had to follow the fire. The judge issued an order for further investigation based on Clooney's evidence. The FBI requested full access to his encrypted hard drive. As new indictments began rolling in, headlines blared across every major network. Hollywood on trial. Some celebrities denied involvement. Others went silent. A few disappeared entirely from public view. The machine was breaking piece by piece. Clooney's decision to testify ignited a new wave of whistleblowers. Former assistants, bodyguards, producers, and industry insiders began reaching out to prosecutors. Patterns began to emerge. Names began to connect. Transactions, trips, phone logs, and digital records drew maps of association between Diddy's empire and a network of silent supporters. What Clooney exposed wasn't just crime. It was a culture. A system that rewarded silence, punished truth, and elevated power above principle. And yet, in the middle of it all, one voice decided to rise. As George Clooney told the world, "I did not come to destroy a man. I came to expose a disease." The case is still ongoing, but the public now watches with eyes wide open. And for those still lurking in the shadows, hoping their names remain hidden, the message is clear. The silence is broken, and the reckoning is here. The fallout continues to widen. New evidence has emerged linking Diddy's financial web to offshore accounts and shell companies used to hide illicit funds. Investigative journalists are uncovering trail after trail: false charities, manipulated grants, even political contributions funneled through intermediaries. Clooney's disclosures are no longer just testimony. They are a blueprint for dismantling a kingdom built on deception. Media moguls are under scrutiny. Politicians are scrambling to distance themselves. Public opinion is shifting, and questions once whispered are now shouted in headlines. Who knew? Who protected him? Who turned away? Meanwhile, Clooney's legal team is working closely with international investigators. The case is no longer confined to a courtroom in Manhattan. It has expanded globally. Governments across Europe and Asia are cooperating, flagging suspicious activity, investigating shell corporations, and cross-referencing names found in Clooney's records. Inside Hollywood, the mood has changed. Celebrities once aligned with Diddy have gone silent or issued vague public statements. Studios are reviewing past collaborations. Awards and recognitions are being re-examined. For the first time in decades, the entertainment industry is confronting a reckoning not driven by ratings or box office numbers, but by justice. And at the center of this storm stands George Clooney. No longer just an actor or advocate, but a symbol of resistance against a system that allowed exploitation to thrive in silence. His courage is sparking a movement. His voice has amplified countless others. And though the price of truth is steep, Clooney has proven that some costs are worth paying. As Clooney once said, "You can build your house on a hill, but if the foundation is lies, it will fall." Now the world is watching, and the house is shaking,